Hello and good evening. The Supreme Court has read the Riot Act to authorities over air and water pollution, directing state governments to explain within 6 weeks why shouldn't they be made liable to pay compensation to persons affected by bad air quality, as it's their duty to provide basic civic amenities, clean air and water to citizens. We'll tell you all about it on Newsnight tonight. I'm Gautam Roy. We'll also be talking about the Maharashtra government formation tug of war, which could see a final whistle being blown by the Supreme Court tomorrow as it passes its verdict on the matter at 10:30 a.m. Monday was a dramatic day over the issue both within and outside the court. But first, our headlines. The Supreme Court to deliver its verdict on Maharashtra government formation tomorrow. Both sides claim to have the numbers in court. Sena, NCP and Congress seek floor test within 24 hours. Centre's lawyer says it's the governor's absolute discretion to invite the leader of the largest political party to form the government. Sena NCP Congress alliance submit letters of support of 162 legislators to the governor, even parade them at a 5-star hotel in Mumbai. BJP says Ajit Pawar remains NCP legislative party leader. Its government will succeed in proving majority on the floor of the House. Pandemonium in both houses of parliament over Maharashtra government formation. Proceedings adjourned for the day after several disruptions. Speaker issues warning to members brandishing posters and banners in the Lok Sabha, says won't tolerate such behaviour. BJP says all parties should support in upholding purity and dignity of parliament. Prime Minister Narendra Modi raises stakes for the Jharkhand poll battle, addressing 2 rallies. Charges the Congress of keeping issues like abrogation of Article 370 and Ayodhya dispute pending for decades. Says if the BJP gets another 5 years to serve the state, it will keep the developmental momentum going. The Supreme Court asked states to explain within 6 weeks why shouldn't they be made liable to pay compensation to those affected by bad air quality. Notices issued to all states seeking details on managing air quality and garbage disposal as well. The Delhi police arrests 3 persons from Assam along with an IED foiling a terror conspiracy in Delhi NCR. The 3 suspects are alleged to have been ISI module inspired. And buoyancy over US-China trade deal and the government's movement forward on disinvestment sends the markets rocketing. SENSEX jumps 530 points to close at a new historic high of 40,889 points. Well, the intrigue and politicking over government formation in Maharashtra has been extended by another day. A 3-judge Supreme Court bench heard the matter further today after the letters of the governor and Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis that led up to his swearing-in along with his deputy Ajit Pawar on Saturday were submitted in court by the centre. While the centre argued that the governor has absolute discretion in such matters, the Shiv Sena's lawyer argued that the court should order a floor test within 24 hours. Now the court's decision will be known tomorrow at 10:30 a.m.
The Supreme Court was the pitched battleground for the ongoing political warfare over Maharashtra government formation on Monday. A 3-judge bench was set to hear the plea filed by the Shiv Sena, NCP and the Congress. Justices N.V. Ramana, Ashok Bhushan and Sanjeev Khanna began the hearing at 10:30 a.m. After hearing the arguments of all sides, the judges said they will deliver their verdict on Tuesday.
हमें उम्मीद है कि कल जब सर्वोच्च न्यायालय अपना फैसला सुनाएगी, दोनों पक्षों की दलील सुनी जाएगी और अधिक समय दे देते हुए कल के कल 24 घंटे के अंदर सदस्यों की शपथ और उसके तुरंत बाद सीधे जजमेंट का फैसला फ्लोर पे किया जाएगा.
As soon as the hearing began, Solicitor General Tushar Mehta placed on record the Governor and Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis' letters as directed by the court after it heard the matter on Sunday. The bench examined Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari's letter inviting Fadnavis to take oath and form the government, saying it needs to determine whether the Chief Minister enjoys the confidence of the House or not. The letter of support given by Ajit Pawar bearing signatures of the 54 NCP MLAs was also submitted to the court. The Solicitor General told the court that the governor had invited the BJP, Shiv Sena and NCP to form the government one after the other. President's rule was imposed only after none of the three parties could stake their claim to form the government. Arguing on behalf of the Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar, senior advocate Maninder Singh told the bench that the governor had followed procedure in inviting Fadnavis to form the government. Arguing on behalf of the Shiv Sena, Kapil Sibal said that the Shiv Sena NCP Congress alliance has submitted affidavits of support of 154 Maharashtra MLAs. Sibal said if the BJP has the numbers, it should be asked to prove its majority within the next 24 hours. The Centre's counsel submitted in court that the BJP has the support of all the 54 NCP legislators to form the government. The Centre's counsel argued for being granted 2 to 3 days' time to respond to the petitions filed against the governor's moves. It further said that the decision to invite the leader of the biggest political party in the assembly on the 23rd of November was the absolute discretion of the governor. The Solicitor General also raised the question whether any political outfit can approach the court seeking its intervention to have a floor test within 24 hours.
Along with the letter of Fadnavis, there was a letter by Mr. Ajit Pawar as the head of the legislative party with the signature of all NCP MLAs. So the governor was absolutely right in granting an invitation for him to form the government.
After hearing all the arguments, the three-judge bench said that the verdict will be delivered on Tuesday morning. Clearly, no matter what the politicking over Maharashtra government formation, it will only be successful if it passes muster in the eyes of the law. With Vikas Sarthi in Delhi, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Now, in the middle of all this resort politics, claims and counterclaims and shows of strength also dominated the Maharashtra political scenario till late in the evening. The battle is being fought as much in the court as the people's court.
All eyes were on developments in the Supreme Court on the Maharashtra issue, and the political mercury in Mumbai was also continuously climbing on Monday. Leaders of the Shiv Sena, NCP and Congress submitted a letter to Maharashtra Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari, claiming they have the required numbers to form the government in the state. The NCP claims support of 51 of 54 MLAs of the party.
सारी पार्टियों के सदस्य इकट्ठा आके आज हमने राज्यपाल महोदय जी को खत दिया है। सारे सदस्यों का सिग्नेचर हमारे इस खत में है और उसमें कहा गया है कि महाराष्ट्र में जो अभी सरकार बनाई गई है वो बहुमत में नहीं है। ये बहुमत दिखाने के लिए असमर्थ रहेगी।
BJP leader Ashish Shaddar on Monday dubbed as bogus the letter submitted by the Shiv Sena NCP Congress combine to the Maharashtra governor to claim that they have the numbers to form the government in the state.
सिर्फ कांग्रेस, एनसीपी और शिवसेना ने इसके लिए दिया है क्योंकि तीनों दलों में बहुत विधायक असंतुष्ट है। वो असंतुष्ट विधायकों को एक तरीके से समाधान करने का, गुमराह करने का यह प्रयास ये कांग्रेस, राष्ट्रवादी और शिवसेना का है।
Devendra Fadnavis took charge as Maharashtra Chief Minister on Sunday. Ajit Pawar also took charge as the Deputy Chief Minister. The Nationalist Congress Party leader Chhagan Bhujbal met Ajit Pawar at his residence. The Congress demanded a floor test.
We have called on the governor's office and submitted a list of more than 162 MLAs supporting our alliance of Congress, Shiv Sena and NCP. They should immediately go in for a floor test. That has been our argument in the Supreme Court.
All the sides claimed victory after the political battle that lasted the whole day.
When BJP's take to form government, it seems there was a mention of NCP as well. Few people have gone there in a personal capacity, but they do not have support of the party. That's why as a party we are not part of this.
मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि इस राज्य में स्थिर सरकार होना बहुत जरूरी है। किसान बेहाल है, बारिश ज़्यादा हुई है, नुकसान ज़्यादा हुआ है, इसके लिए सरकार की जरूरत है, इसलिए हमने गठबंधन करके सरकार बनाई।
The resort politics is still at play in Maharashtra, and the legislators of the Congress, NCP and Shiv Sena are all staying at various hotels. And the significance of smaller parties and independence has only grown manifold in such a circumstance. With inputs from Ajay Vikram Singh and Mumbai Bureau, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Now, the sequence of events over Maharashtra government formation over the weekend led to ugly scenes in Parliament on the first working day of the week today. The hue and cry over the Saturday morning swearing in at Raj Bhavan wasn't just confined to the usual sloganeering and storming the well of the House and adjournments. Things came to such a pass that the Speaker had to order the marshalling out of 2 Congress Lok Sabha members, which added fuel to the raging fire over Maharashtra.
The Maharashtra imbroglio reverberated in both the Houses of Parliament on Monday. Proceedings were adjourned repeatedly and then for the entire day in both the houses as the opposition members kept on shouting slogans and disrupting work on the matter. Lower House saw noisy scenes immediately after the start of proceedings. Holding placards and shouting slogans, many members of the Congress party trooped to the well of the House. Despite warnings from the Speaker Om Birla, the members continued with disrupting the proceedings. After his warnings went unheeded, the Speaker ordered removal of 2 Congress members, Haibi Eden and T.N. Pratapan, who were holding the banners by marshals.
मान्य सदस्य एबी ईडन और प्रतापन अपने इसको नीचे कर दे 373 के अंदर। मान्य सदस्य 1 मिनट में एबी ईडन और प्रतापन नीचे कर दे। मान्य उनको निकालो।
However, the 2 MPs were joined by other Congress members in resisting their eviction from the House and were seen jostling with marshals, prompting the Speaker to adjourn the House till noon. When the House met at 12 noon, the Chair again adjourned it to 2 p.m. and subsequently the House was adjourned for the day. Amid the pandemonium, Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman introduced the Taxation Laws Amendment Bill 2019. The Recycling of Ships Bill 2019 was introduced by Union Minister Mansukh Bhai Mandavia. The International Financial Services Centre Authority Bill 2019 and Special Protection Group Amendment Bill 2019 were also introduced in the House. Meanwhile, Congress has alleged that the women parliamentarians were manhandled in the Lok Sabha when they were protesting in the well of the House over the Maharashtra government formation. The BJP in turn accused Congress members of bringing shame to the lower house with their unruly conduct.
इसके खिलाफ हमारे जो महिला मेंबरों हैं ये सारे स्पीकर साहब के पास हमारा आपत्ति जताई। जिस ढंग से धक्का मुक्की हुई है हमारे महिला मेंबरों के साथ उनके खिलाफ कार्रवाई लेने के लिए स्पीकर साहब के पास हमारी पक्ष से दरखास्त किए गए हैं।
विरोध करने का विपक्ष का अधिकार है, लेकिन आज विपक्ष विशेष रूप से कांग्रेस पार्टी ने संसदीय शालीनता, संसदीय संस्कार और संसदीय अनुशासन की सारी सीमाएं लांघ दी।
Speaker has made it clear that the behavior of Congress MPs was unacceptable and will not be tolerated. Rajya Sabha also witnessed stormy scenes as opposition created ruckus on the Maharashtra matter. Chairman of the House M. Venkaiah Naidu did not accept notices given for discussion under Rule 267 by the opposition members as the matter was sub judice and conduct of a person in high office cannot be discussed without a substantive motion.
In the instant case, the Maharashtra proclamation is in question is still to be laid on the table of the House. Moreover, as per media reports, the issuance of the proclamation has been challenged in the Supreme Court and the matter is also sub judice. This ruling was given earlier by Sri Red R. Venkatraman, who was the chairman of the House and subsequent who became the President of India.
Amid the ruckus, Union Minister for Minority Affairs Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi raised a point of order. He also alleged that the Congress, Shiv Sena and NCP were trying to hijack democracy in Maharashtra.
जनतंत्र का जुगाड़ तंत्र से अपहरण करने की कोशिश हो रही है। जनता ने भारतीय जनता पार्टी और साथियों को जनादेश दिया है। आज जो है जो लोग की सरकार बनाने के लिए क्लेम तक नहीं करने गए, वो आज जुगाड़ के माध्यम से जनतंत्र का अपहरण कर रहे हैं।
Rajya Sabha proceedings were later adjourned for the day after the Congress and other opposition parties kept up the protests and stalled functioning of the House over developments in Maharashtra. With inputs from Parliament team, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
So the situation is pretty delicately poised as far as this entire issue is concerned, particularly in the Supreme Court, and that brings up our in focus tonight, which is Maha judgment tomorrow. And to talk about it, we have Pinky Anand, Additional Solicitor General of India, joining us, and also Ashok Tandon, Senior Journalist in our studio. And first, if I could come to you, Pinky, what do you make of this situation in terms of how it's really played out, not just in terms of how the government was sworn in, but now in the Supreme Court, all these arguments that have been made, which clearly paint a very divergent picture.
I don't know where the divergence really comes from. If you look at the legal perspective and the constitutional basis, in the event that you have a pre-poll alliance, you call the pre-poll alliance to form a party, the government rather, and the pre-poll alliance was checked, the BJP was asked, but ultimately couldn't put it together with the pre-poll alliance with the Shiv Sena backing out. Then the second parties were called, and finally in the absence of that, as per the Sarkaria Commission, the floor test was called based upon the production of the BJP and the satisfaction that you had the numbers requisite to form the government. So I don't know how much remains as a matter of issue on the constitutional front.
Right, and the opposition is making a lot of issue about the amount of time that has been given to prove majority in the floor of the House. Do you feel that is something that is completely in the discretion of the governor?
It is in the discretion of the governor, and ultimately that discretion can be exercised from 1 day to as many number of days. It depends on what the governor considers fit and gives the option. Ultimately, in a democratic rule, what has to be seen is that the floor test itself is to prove the entire situation. And today you have a position where you do not have a speaker and a pro tem speaker. So how do you go about the whole situation unless all the institutions are in place, the speaker is in place or the pro tem speaker is in place? Otherwise, how does the matter go forward in the parliament?
Right. Ashok Tandon, what do you make of this situation? What is your assessment? The Supreme Court will have its own view, but there is the People's Court as well to consider, where all kinds of claims and counterclaims are being made by the two different political sides. There are just two of them now, but the kind of noise that is being made and now displays in five-star hotels of the number of MLAs that you have on your side, isn't it getting a bit too much?
No, one thing is very clear, that floor test is the final forum, and I think all of us will have to wait for the floor test. And even when the combined of NCP, Congress and Shiv Sena, they are claiming a majority. So first they will have to defeat this government on the floor of the House. So therefore they will have to wait for the floor test. But the situation in Maharashtra is that the assembly has not yet been constituted. Unless the members take oath, there cannot be a floor test. So therefore first thing would be that a pro tem speaker would be appointed by, sworn in by the governor. Then he will administer oath to all the 288 members. It can take a day or maybe even more than that. After that, in fact, in a normal procedure, the first item before the new assembly is to elect a speaker. And speaker's election in a parliamentary democracy itself is a floor test. If the government sponsored candidate wins the speaker election, that itself proves that he has the majority. But in this case, suppose for instance, if the Supreme Court says no, speaker election can take place later, but immediately after the swearing in, the pro tem speaker's role actually ends. But suppose there is a directive from the Supreme Court that hold the floor test within such a period of time, even then the opposition will have to wait for the floor test to begin, and therefore to cry that we are not being given a chance, we have a majority, we can form the government. One thing I would like to say here is that once somebody is elected as leader of the legislature party of his party, say for instance BJP, Devendra Fadnavis, when he was elected leader of the BJP legislature party, the governor has to be informed about it, and in that case it is not incumbent upon the leader to carry the list of all the members with signatures. But in this case, when NCP elected Ajit Pawar as their leader, legislature party leader of the NCP, not only he gave a letter of his election to the governor, but it also carried signatures of the 54 MLAs. Now, on the strength of the support of 54 MLAs and a covering letter from the newly elected NCP legislature party leader, Ajit Pawar was competent enough within his right to present that letter to the governor of support to Devendra Fadnavis. So now when they say, oh, no, all of them had signed that letter in good faith because he was our leader, I think somebody will have to analyze this. Why Ajit Pawar's letter was carrying 54 signatures of the MLAs, which was not required. So therefore now I think the ultimate test is the floor test, for which all of us will have to wait. Supreme Court is also seized of the matter. We will have to wait for the Supreme Court order tomorrow morning. But I think the best course of action would be for the governor to summon the assembly, administer oath by a pro tem speaker. Then if there is any direction for an early floor test, well, there can be a floor test. But in normal circumstances, the election of the speaker has to take place first, and only the speaker can order a floor test to the ruling to the chief minister.
Pinky Anand, in your knowledge and experience, what all does the Supreme Court really need to consider here? Because a lot of things are being said, there are questions being raised on how the governor invited Devendra Fadnavis and Ajit Pawar to be sworn in as CM and Deputy CM, the status of Ajit Pawar himself as the leader of the legislative party of the NCP, the fact that even the amount of time that is being given for the floor test is being objected to, with one party seeking that the floor test should be within 24 hours. What all does the Supreme Court really need to weigh to come to a way forward over here?
I think we leave that for the Supreme Court to decide as to what it should weigh, but I can only speak from the Constitution to say this, that the entire process of democratic belief and the rule of law envisages that the party concerned has to prove its strength on the floor of the House, and that is the decisive factor. The question of how the governor can call a particular party under what circumstances, I think has been put forward, and I think it might be considered by the Supreme Court. But at the same time, the governor has to only see that there has been a stake of a claim, and whether in fact that can be proved, that is on the floor test itself, on the floor of the assembly, and nothing beyond that. The question of the letters and all that may be some discussion which takes place, but I do wonder as to the importance of that, because here the question really is staking the claim on the basis of the numbers that are available to the party which is taking the claim. So if you go forward in this, I think there could be a number of arguments, and there have been a number of arguments that the matter is reserved. Let us wait and see what the Supreme Court does do. But in all such cases, by and large, the Supreme Court has held that the floor test is the ultimate test, and let the party itself prove its strength there, or let the opposition disprove their case. The one factor of the timing of the floor test, whatever it might be, the speaker has to be in place for the swearing in of the MLAs to take place, before which no floor test can take place. So these are some of the essentials that I can put forth. Rest we will see what the Supreme Court does.
And all these cases, previous cases that are being cited, sort of, I really can't call them precedents, but all these cases that are being cited, what happened, the latest in the case of Karnataka, before that in Uttarakhand, before that, people are going back to the 90s as well, to what happened in the context of Uttar Pradesh. Do you think any of them are relevant here in this particular case, or they don't really, this is a unique set of circumstances?
In its own way, this is unique, but at the same time, some of the principles that emerge from all these judgments stand true even till date and in the context of the present case. So it's difficult to say it's unique in all ways. However, it is unique in its own way. You have a party which is taking a claim based upon a majority, and if it can sustain that on a floor test, on a general perception of democratic rule of law and the Constitution, that is something that should govern the day.
Right. Now let's talk about the politics as well. Ashok Tandon, what in terms of, I mean, if all this is already happening in Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is saying that we'll have a verdict out for you tomorrow, why then this sort of rabble-rousing and ugly scenes really in Parliament, and parading of MLAs at a 5-star hotel in Mumbai? People are wondering about that as well.
Certainly, people are really wondering about it, what kind of drama is going on. But the question remains that even if a parade is being shown of the MLAs, what's the purpose of it? Because the
Because
government
even
has
that parade has been questioned as to whether the numbers were there or not in that particular parade.
No,
So
Gautam, the question is a government is already in place. A government has been installed. There is a chief minister and a deputy chief minister. Now, whatever strength you will have to demonstrate it on the floor of the house. Till then, it is mere politics, which every party is indulging in, including what happened in parliament was nothing but posturing and protest in their own way to just show that, well, some wrong is being done to them. But now, once the governor was convinced with a letter from Devendra Fadnavis of the BJP plus, as well as a letter from the elected leader of the legislature party of NCP with 54 signature, governor had no option but to call them and appoint them as CM and deputy CM. Now, only thing which we'll have to watch and wait is that if there is any directive from the Supreme Court with regard to the date of floor test, that will have to be seen. But if I remember, there was a precedent in which Supreme Court decided to direct the Speaker to advance the date of floor test. Speaker said, no, I am within my own right to convene the assembly for a floor test, and Supreme Court had to change its position. But in this particular case, there is no Speaker. The only thing the governor can do is appoint or in fact administer an oath to a pro tem speaker. The pro tem speaker, when the assembly is convened, will have to administer oath. There cannot be any floor test without administering oath to 288 members. Once that happens, then the question is, who will conduct the floor test? Because pro tem speaker normally,
speaker's role normally ends.
Normally, pro tem speaker's role ends with the swearing in ceremony. So therefore, if you go by the legislative process, the House has to first elect a speaker. Once the speaker is elected, only then a floor test can take place. But in normal circumstances, in parliamentary democracy parlance, the election of the speaker itself is a floor test. If the speaker nominee of the ruling party or a ruling alliance is defeated, the government itself has to resign. Therefore, why make halla gulla? Why make so much of noise? Why not wait till the process takes place? So I think whatever is being done, whether in Mumbai or in Parliament, is posturing. It's politics, which any political party is free to do.
Right. And Pinky Anand, here of course the question is whether the Supreme Court will exercise its power to direct proceedings into going into this fact that whether the floor test or House convening of the House in the first place should be advanced or not. Do you think that is something that the court has to consider?
I think we'll just wait and watch to see what the Supreme Court does.
Okay, you're being fairly succinct about this, but Ashok Tandon, here of course again it's a matter of whose writ really runs here, because it's a legislative matter as well, and then the matter has ended up in the Supreme Court. So it will be very interesting to see what sort of an order comes forth from the top court tomorrow, won't it?
I think somebody in the Supreme Court did point out that the judiciary must respect the legislature, and there are, see, in Indian constitution we have checks and balances. Judiciary has a role for a judicial review, no doubt about it. But then the legislature also has its constitutional obligation, and so does the governor. So if the governor is moving step by step in a procedure, constitutional procedure, you can't doubt his intention. So therefore, let each arm of the Indian democracy function within the constitutional ambit. So let the judiciary respect the legislature, and let legislature perform its role, which I think so far has been as per the constitutional provision. So the only thing now we'll have to see, because Supreme Court has reserved its order till tomorrow. In what context they order, we'll have to wait and watch. But I remember today or perhaps yesterday, somebody did point out in the Supreme Court that the judiciary also must have respect for legislature.
Right, and we do see that there is a bit of a difficulty there in terms of which areas should the court go into. But we have seen even in the case of Karnataka, Ashok Tandon, that the court said that the speaker was okay in dismissing those, disqualifying those MLAs, but as far as their tenure is concerned till the time that they cannot contest elections, that was set aside. So the court did intervene and sort of cut short what the Speaker intended in terms of a penalty?
No, first thing the Supreme Court did was to uphold the powers of the Speaker, the jurisdiction of the Speaker in disqualifying them.
Correct.
But he said that period of disqualification cannot be determined always by the Speaker. There are circumstances, and the plea of those who were disqualified was that since we were going to resign, our resignations were not accepted, now we should be given a chance to contest the elections which are due, the by-elections which were due December 5. So Supreme Court agreed that yes, the Speaker's right to disqualify you was in place, but you should be allowed to contest election for the by-elections, and it was a win-win situation. So I think the MLAs were satisfied because their plea was only that we should be allowed to contest the by-election, which Supreme Court agreed. So in that context, I don't think there was any infringement into the powers of the legislature by the Supreme Court. Supreme Court was right, but Supreme Court upheld the right of the Speaker as well as also upheld the plea of the disqualified MLAs, and they are all contesting the December 5 by-elections.
Yes. And Pinky Anand, even in this case, whatever may the order of the Supreme Court be tomorrow, it will have to be accepted by all the parties, or is there room for any further appeal as well?
See, you can always, there are judicial avenues which are always open, legal avenues which are open. You can go for a review, you can go for curative petitions, etc.
Yes.
But let us see and hope that there will be a resolution of the issues by the verdict tomorrow.
Let's hope that indeed does happen, and we get a final word from the Supreme Court, and one way or the other the matter is settled, be it with the convening of the House. If that indeed is the course to be taken, we'll have to wait and see what really emerges at 10:30 a.m. Tomorrow in the Supreme Court. Thank you for joining us, Pinky Anand, as well as Ashok Tandon. Okay, let's now move on and talk about what's happening in Jharkhand, which is heading to the hustings very soon. And now all the updates from Jharkhand, where assembly elections are due to begin from the weekend itself.
Ahead of the first phase of elections in Jharkhand on 30th November, political temperature has heated up, and it went up a notch higher with Prime Minister Modi entering the election scene. He addressed rallies in Daltonganj and Gumla. Prime Minister Modi began his campaign from Daltonganj. The Prime Minister addressed an election rally in Daltonganj, where he asserted that the BJP government in the last 5 years has taken several steps for the development of Jharkhand. He attacked the previous Congress governments at the centre for procrastinating resolution of the Kashmir issue and the Ayodhya dispute for the sake of votes.
कांग्रेस और उसके साथियों ने राम जन्मभूमि पर क्या किया, कैसी राजनीति की गई, कैसे समाज को बांटा गया। इन लोगों ने अपने वोट बैंक की खातिर इस विषय को लगातार लटकाए रखा, इसका फैसला नहीं होने दिया। इस देश का हर शांतिप्रिय नागरिक हमेशा इस बात को याद रखेगा कि कैसे कांग्रेस ने इस विषय पर राजनीति की, लोगों में दरारें पैदा की।
Addressing another rally in Gumla, Prime Minister Modi said the motto of the BJP government is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, where there is no discrimination on the basis of caste, creed or religion, and efforts are being made to benefit the poor.
हमारा प्रयास है कि हर गरीब को सम्मान का जीवन, गरिमा का जीवन मिले। इसके लिए जरूरी है कि उसके हक का लाभ उस तक पहुंचे। हर गरीब परिवार को पक्का घर देने का काम पूरे झारखंड में चल रहा है।
Prime Minister Modi urged the voters to choose the BJP in the elections. Campaigning has gained momentum and other parties are also leaving no stone unturned. Hemant Soren of the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha addressed a rally in Latehar and appealed to vote for his party.
जिस तरीके से अंग्रेजों ने यहाँ का रेल लाइन बिछाया था, वो रेल लाइन आदमी ढोने के लिए नहीं, खनिज संपदा ढोने के लिए बनाया गया था। ये एक बहुत बड़ा चिंता का विषय है। कि खनिज संपदा हमारा, विस्थापित होंगे हम, खेत उजड़ेगा हमारा, गांव उजड़ेगा हमारा।
Congress is also campaigning in the state. It also released its manifesto on Sunday. The five-phased elections in Jharkhand are due to start from 30th November and the results will be declared on 23rd December. With inputs from Divakar, Anuj and Abhishek, News Night Desk, DD India.
Now, the nation will mark 70th anniversary of adoption of the Constitution tomorrow. The day was marked as Constitution Day at the initiative of Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the year 2015 as a part of year-long celebrations of the 125th birth anniversary of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Constitution Day of India aims to raise awareness about the importance of the Indian Constitution and its architect, Dr. Ambedkar.
26th November this year marks the 7 decades of adoption of the Constitution. To mark this momentous occasion, Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his Mann Ki Baat edition has given a call for the generations and the common people to adopt the values mentioned in the Constitution. Let's interact and gauge as to how important and relevant are the values put forth by the Constitution. When we talk of the relevance of the Constitution, 7 decades is a very long time. How do you see
all the values, justice, equality, secularism, all these are embedded in the Constitution? They play a very important role in our daily day-to-day life because in order to empower the women and काफ़ी सारे ऐसे अभियान हैं, बेटी बचाओ, बेटी पढ़ाओ, स्वच्छ भारत, all these are very much required because day to day they are part of our life. They play important role and they are very, very important for very existence of individual.
We focus on a multi-stakeholder approach. I really appreciate the fact that PM Modi has been emphasizing on celebrating the Constitution and wants the citizens to focus on abiding the values and everything that the Constitution stands for. I think the Constitution is something that we think of just as a book, but no, a Constitution is the guidebook, the rule book that every Indian citizen should be following. And I think it's just like a Bible for us. It's what tells you how to be not just a citizen but how to be a responsible human being. For me personally, I would like if people can emphasize and people can play their part in taking care of the pollution, in taking care of education, waste management. There are just so many issues to deal with, but one has to start from somewhere. So I think education would be that one step in the ladder.
And besides that, the amendments that we've seen in the Constitution and amendments which are in today's light very progressive, I would say, especially if you talk about legitimizing LGBT relationships, the way all these have come up, this is a good step that I would say that we are moving in a progressive direction.
Now, stating that right to life of humans is being endangered by pollution, the Supreme Court today took a stern view of the deteriorating air and water pollution situation in the National Capital Region. Cracking the whip, the Supreme Court issued notices to all states seeking various details, including on air quality index. 6 weeks' time has also been given to all states to respond why they shouldn't be liable for compensating those who suffer from ill effects of bad air quality. It also asked the centre and Delhi government to together take a decision within 10 days with regard to installation of smog towers in Delhi and the National Capital Region.
Supreme Court has issued notice to all states seeking report on air quality, drinking water and garbage disposal and asked the centre to take concrete decision within 10 days on having smog towers in Delhi NCR to combat pollution which has shortened the lifespan of millions of citizens. The apex court expressed displeasure over the performance of Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh and Delhi to combat pollution and sought to know as to why they should not be asked to compensate people affected by bad air quality. A bench of Justices Arun Mishra and Deepak Gupta termed as alarming the stubble burning situation and said not only the state machinery but farmers were also responsible for it. It has asked the centre and concerned stakeholders to take concrete decision within 10 days on having smog towers in Delhi NCR to combat air pollution. A bench of Justices Arun Mishra and Deepak Gupta said that lifespan of millions of citizens has shortened and people are suffocating due to pollution in Delhi NCR. Supreme Court asked whether people can be treated like this and permitted to die due to pollution. It further asked that why people are in this gas chamber, adding that this wrong is going on for long. Taking serious note of water pollution in Delhi, it said that people have the right to get pure drinking water. Ben said that the court is literally shocked that water is polluted in Delhi and the blame game is going on. With Bureau Inputs, Newsnight Desk, TD India.
The central government's Atal Pension Yojana, a pension scheme for workers in the unorganized sector, is proving to be a boon for people. It's a periodic contribution-based pension plan for workers in the age group of 18 to 40 years. This plan promises them a fixed payout of 1,000 to 5,000 rupees after they attain the age of 60. People of Telangana's Asifabad district have also been availing the benefits of the scheme. Let's take a quick look at this ground report from Asifabad.
Many people working in unorganized sector are attracted towards the Atal Pension Scheme in the Kumran Bhim Asifabad district of Telangana. District administration has worked hard to instill a sense of being secured through this scheme amongst the general public. Srinivas, a resident of Asifabad district, says that this scheme will be a boon for him in his old age. He says that he cannot be more thankful to the government for bringing this scheme.
I work in a private company. Recently, I have enrolled myself in the Atal Pension Yojana. I have started paying premium of just 210 rupees per month. I feel that I will be able to lead a comfortable life during my old age.
Atal Pension Yojana is a social security scheme which aims at helping these workers save money for their post-retirement life. The beneficiaries say the promise of a secure monthly pension is what drives them to join the scheme. Bureau Report, DD News.
Now, the widespread impact of Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana can be seen as a game changer across the country. The scheme was launched with an aim to offer benefits of insurance to masses and ensure financial security of the family in the event of any unfortunate death of a member. Let's take a quick look at this ground report from Telangana's Medak district.
When the main breadwinner of a family dies in an unfortunate incident, the family faces many hardships. Such families are extended help under Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana. Many workers in the Ghanapur Tehsil of Medak district have joined the Jeevan Jyoti scheme and expressed happiness and relief on getting the financial help.
I learned about the scheme recently. This scheme is a solution for financial problems of poor and middle class people. I thank the government for introducing such a beneficial scheme.
Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana aims at offering people affordable universal access to essential protection in a convenient manner. By providing basic insurance facilities to people, the government is working towards achieving its goal of social security. Bureau Report, DD News.
And it's time now to get you some more updates from around the country in our regional roundup.
Special cell of Delhi police arrested 3 suspected terrorists from Golpada in Assam. Their intention was to carry out IED explosion at a fair in Assam and then carry out a terrorist attack in Delhi. Security forces arrested 2 terrorists in Baramulla, Jammu and Kashmir. Both terrorists were planning to target police SPO's recruitment being held in Baramulla. This recruitment drive is being organized by the Railway Police. The young men and women are flocking in from different parts of the district for the recruitment drive. CBI court gave a big decision in the infamous Vyapam scam in a case related to police constable recruitment examination of 2013. Of 31 accused, Special CBI court sentenced 30 to 7 years of imprisonment, while the main accused, Pradeep Tyagi, has been sentenced to 10 years of imprisonment. All have been sent to judicial custody. During a search operation in Chhattisgarh, CRPF team recovered a Kuka IED bomb on Basrur Narayanpur Road in Dantewada. The bomb was neutralized on the spot. Credit-linked subsidy scheme housing portal was inaugurated today by Union Housing and Urban Development Minister Hardeep Singh Puri. Through this website, the beneficiaries of the CLSS under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana will be able to see the status of their application. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy launched helpline number 14400 for complaints of corruption in government departments today. The Chief Minister himself made the first call to this number and inquired about the working of the helpline. 9 people died on the spot and 15 others were injured in a head-on collision between a roadways bus and a truck in a Tindwadi area of Uttar Pradesh's Banda district today. Families of the deceased will be provided financial assistance of Rs 5 lakh from the Passenger Relief Fund by the UP State Road Transport Corporation.
Maestro and National Award winner Ilayaraja will conduct a masterclass in the 50th edition of the Indian Film Festival of India. Ilayaraja, who has been honoured with several national and international awards, will also be facilitated on the occasion.
Indian music maestro and 5-time National Award winner who has given some of the best hit to the Indian cinema, Ilayaraja, will also be part of the 50th edition of the International Film Festival of India. He will be conducting a masterclass and he'll also be honored at the closing ceremony of the 50th edition for his illustrious career in the world of music and cinema.
The opening ceremony of 50th edition of the International Film Festival of India was spectacular and finale will be equally memorable. Indian music maestro Ilayaraja will be conducting a masterclass at the 50th edition of the International Film Festival of India in Goa. The music wizard will be honoured at the closing ceremony of the IFFI 2019 as a legend of cinema.
It's a great honour. We are absolutely humbled by the sheer presence of the master. He has kindly agreed to come and do a master class on 27th with his team and different instruments, the interplay of rhythm and music. I think what else could we have asked for? And we are truly honoured by his presence. And then legends of Indian film industry who will be honoured on the 28th. Ilayaraja ji happens to be one of them, and it's a humble recognition of his great achievement about which the entire country is proud of.
Ilayaraja is critically acclaimed Indian film composer, singer and lyricist and the first Asian composer to score a symphony. He is a gold medalist from the Trinity College of Music, London, has composed thousands of songs and provided film scores to many Indian films in various languages in a career spanning more than 30 years. Ilayaraja honoured with Padma Vibhushan and National Award for Best Music Direction along with other important awards across the world. Vishal Shilar, DD News, Panaji.
Now the equity benchmark, the SENSEX, surged nearly 530 points to scale a new closing peak of 40,889.23 today, buoyed by renewed optimism over US-China trade deal and the government's disinvestment measures to curb fiscal deficit. Further reconstruction of Sensex indices in hopes of rate cut by the Reserve Bank of India in the upcoming monetary policy meet also boosted investor sentiment. Starting on a positive note, the 30-share BSE index went on to touch its record intraday high of 40,931.71 before finally settling 529.82 points or 1.31% higher at 40,889.23, its all-time closing peak. Likewise, the broader NSE Nifty closed with a gain of 159.35 points or 1.34% at 12,073.75, just shy of its lifetime closing high. All sectoral indices closed with gains. Analysts are of the view that a trade pact between the US and China is likely by the end of December 2019 after positive statements being made by both sides last week. Further, they said that sentiment got a boost from FIRs preferring emerging markets such as India as the recent easy monetary stance of US Fed and ECB has improved liquidity in world markets. In international news, Hong Kong's Democrats won a landslide but symbolic majority in district council elections that were held on Sunday. Residents had turned out in record numbers to vote after around 6 months of anti-government protests. The voting had been peaceful amid tight security. 71% of the 4.1 million people voted, which is an increase of 47% over the election 4 years ago. Pro-democracy candidates won 90% of 452 seats in 18 district councils. They had less than a third of the seats earlier. Hong Kong's largest pro-Beijing political party suffered a huge setback, with at least 155 of its 182 candidates being defeated. Candidates now say that Chief Executive Carrie Lam must heed protesters' demands, including free elections for the city's leader and legislature, and an independent probe into alleged police brutality.
Carrie Lam and the government should seriously consider the 5 demands of the people of Hong Kong, especially about setting up an independent inquiry about the incidents in the past 6 months. I think it's a very, very clear and loud voice.
Meanwhile, in New York, former mayor and owner of Bloomberg News, Michael Bloomberg, announced his campaign for US 2020 presidential elections. Bloomberg filed paperwork earlier this month to join the Democratic primaries in Alabama and Arkansas. The former mayor of New York announced his candidacy in a written statement which promises to let wealthy pay more in taxes and the middle class to get their fair share. He's ranked by Forbes as the 8th richest American with an estimated worth of $53.4 billion US. Bloomberg will be able to self-finance his campaign but has had a late start. Now going on further, what's happening as far as Venice is concerned? Well, Venice was hit by high water levels again on Sunday. Flooding for weeks has brought the lagoon city to its knees. Tourists and locals were forced to wade through water once again as incessant rains and wind caused the city to flood multiple times. The famous St. Mark's Square was closed briefly as the peak tide level reached 130 centimeters. This is the worst month of high tides in Venice since 1872, when official statistics were first produced. Let's talk sports now. And fast-rising Indian shuttler Lakshya Sen claimed his 4th title in 3 months, bagging the Scottish Open title with a thrilling win over Brazil's Gore Colo in the men's singles summit clash. The top-seeded Indian overcame his Brazilian opponent 18-21, 21-18, 21-19 in a 56-minute final on Sunday night. The 18-year-old from Uttarakhand has now clinched 3 titles out of the 4 tournaments that he's played since September: Saralor Lux Open, Dutch Open and Belgian International. In cricket, paceman Josh Hazlewood took 4 for 63 as Australia thumped Pakistan in the first match of their 2-test series. The tourists were bowled out for 335 in their second innings as they lost by an innings and 5 runs in Brisbane. Australia had made 580 in response to Pakistan's first innings total of 240, and the tourists resumed day 4 on 64 for 3. Babar Azam with a 104-run knock and Mohammad Rizwan with 95 helped Pakistan to 305 for 6, but they lost their last 4 wickets for 30 runs in only 5 overs. Hazlewood, who took 6 wickets in the match, had Rizwan caught 5 runs short of 100 before Pakistan's collapse. Australia paceman Mitchell Starc took 3 for 73 in Pakistan's second innings to finish with 7 wickets overall. The second test starts in Adelaide on the 29th of November. And in tennis, Rafael Nadal clinched an emotional Davis Cup victory for Spain over Canada when he beat Denis Shapovalov in front of a jubilant home crowd in Madrid. His 6-3, 7-6 win sealed the title, with Roberto Bautista Agut returning to the team 3 days after his father's death to put the hosts 1-0 up. Bautista Agut was in tears after beating 19-year-old Felix Auger-Aliassime 7-6, 6-3 in the opener. Nadal's win gave Spain an unassailable 2-0 lead and a 6th Davis Cup title. The world number 1 has won all 8 of his rubbers this week, to help Spain to a first title since 2011 and ensure local fans were celebrating at the end of the inaugural edition of the competition's revamped version. Okay, now rare treasures from Europe's royal families from 1550 to 1750 will debut to the public in New York. Metropolitan Museum of Art visitors will see the largest flawless natural green diamond in the world, a 15-foot-long wire drawing bench with intricate artwork adorning its sides, and a miraculous writing machine in the making marvel Science and Splendor at the Courts of Europe exhibition. That's all we have for the moment in this edition of Newsnight Tonight. For all the latest, do stay tuned to DD India.